Spiritual formation is summed up by Dallas Willard as the total transformation of the soul. I don't have to stretch very much to agree with Dallas, but I certainly agree with him here. And I think though Dallas Willard includes the whole of humanity, Christian and non-Christian, as candidates for some kind of spiritual formation, I want to focus on Christian spiritual formation. So in this discussion, we're talking about the spiritual formation of the Christian. And Christian spiritual formation starts at the 0 point, where every walk of faith begins. That is, on a soul level, we begin as enemies of God, Romans 5:10. But after our acceptance of the great work of the grace of the sacrifice Jesus paid, we start on a journey of soul reconciliation that affects mind, body, and spirit. Charles Colson calls the cross an exchange of identities. He goes on to say that Christ comes to the cross to die, giving his righteous life for us, that we in turn come to the cross to die, giving our sinful life for him. And thereafter, Christ lives in us, Galatians 2:20. The end goal of spiritual formation, as Dallas Willard puts it, is that we come to embody the deeds of Christ done in the power of Christ. I think this is key. It's recognizing that we're being formed into what Leonard Sweet calls little Christs. And Paul implores us to put on Christ, or to clothe ourselves with Christ. And as such, I think the forming itself is done by Christ himself. And he acts through the presence of the Holy Spirit in us, in our hearts, and our wills. Richard Foster refers to this as inner righteousness, and it's only made possible through the power of the Holy Spirit acting in accordance to Christ's will to show his glory in our lives, 2 Corinthians 3:18. I think this is very key, and we must realize that we're formed as a continuation of God's redemptive story in the human race, and in order to reflect his glory. I think ultimately spiritual formation is done when we intellectually engage pathways to grace, when we act on the spiritual disciplines, such as solitude and prayer, meditation on the scriptures. When we commit to these things, we become more like the rabbi that we love. That's Luke 6:40. And Willard reminds us that even though we cannot earn grace, we should not stop energetically seeking to receive grace. Steve Neff and David Drury argue in Soul Shift that we come into this world wired a certain way, and we must undergo a series of changes at the soul level until we can leave another way. And these changes, I think, are ushered in through the practice of spiritual disciplines. I guess one Bible verse sums all this up for me. 1 Timothy 4:7-8, Paul says, "Take time and trouble to keep yourself spiritually fit." Bodily fitness has limited value, but spiritual fitness is of unlimited value, for it holds promise for both this present life and the life to come. I hope that gives you an idea of where I'm at with spiritual formation.